Good morning to those of you who celebrate. It's Monday. It's the worst day of the week. And it's me. It's the I Stand Correct podcast, I guess, if we're calling it that now. Um, Boy, it's been a heck of a weekend. I don't know how it was for you, but it was probably the worst or fastest weekend I've ever had. They managed to both be fast and bad now, right? Best combination, fast and bad. I think I hurt my foot probably on Wednesday. Now I know what you're thinking. John, you keep hurting your foot. How does this happen to you? Well, the usual way of sleeping. I wake up in the morning and I'm asleep, and then I wake up and then my foot hurts. And of course, I used Chat GPT to figure out what's wrong with me. I explained, well, the pain started near the right behind my toe, and then it kind of flared around the top of the foot. And here's what makes it better. Here's what makes it worse. And Chat GPT is like, you have gout. And I'm like, it's not gout. I don't want to have gout. So I kind of explained to Chat GPT why it can't be gout. And they're like, it seems like acute tendonitis. And I kind of work through what makes it better, what makes it worse. And so I think that's kind of what it is. One thing it said to me is that, perhaps your shoes are too tight. And I've gotten that advice from a nurse before. So I think if I could corroborate between a nurse and artificial intelligence, I think it's artificial intelligence. I think it's acute tendonitis. And so I think on Wednesday, I'm hobbling. Thursday, I'm definitely crippled. And so I'm not doing much on Thursday. The project's at home, still in progress. So I'm living in the basement. I'm going up and down the stairs a lot, more than I used to, because the renovations are going slowly. And then the air conditioning breaks again. So my foot's broke. The AC's broke again. And I spent the whole weekend in the basement not being able to do much of anything. Couldn't get much work done. Couldn't mow. And it's so humid. I mean, it wasn't that hot, but I mean, we had rain for the past 5 days. And it's raining today. And it's just so humid. The air conditioner guy was just here at 8:30 this morning. Just got it fixed again. It was the same problem as last time. Control board issue. So what does that mean? It means that either the control board we put in was a lemon, or I have a massive electrical problem in the house somewhere that I would have to tease out and hunt down with a very expensive electrician. So just, at what point do I give up? At what point do I just get the peg leg and just become an Amish person? Don't need air conditioning anymore. Don't mess what you don't have. Of course, it would mean no more podcast for anyone. Of course, that's just more reason to do it, right? So good morning to my sister. Good morning to Chase. Thanks for everyone who's listening to me complain. Complain a huge part of the show. I'll take your complaints. That's only fair. Good morning to our Elijah, our youngest and most wise member, Foxy, waking up early this morning in California. My sister hurts herself sleeping so often. It must be a trait of us Bateses. I know that you thought you could get out of it by marrying out, but you still have it. Tally, good morning. How are things in Iowa treating you? Chase, how is Iowa treating you? I know Felony's probably here somewhere. How is Iowa treating you? And Jenny, how is Utah treating you? Tyler, how are things up in Canada? It's always good to see you. We are going to just go ahead and do the memes. For those of you who haven't seen the show before, I invited some new people just because, I try not to like brag or anything like, oh, listen to my show, but otherwise people don't know it exists. And I'm -1 subscriber for the month. So the show is your bonus content if you're a Comp Center member, and then you can get it for free if you're just a regular person. But being paid to do it by Comp Center members is what makes me go ahead and do it. So I've got like 100 memes for you, and they're all in because of StreamYard, they're not in the proper order. So we'll just dive in. Do you like rigatoni? Just no reply. How can you claim to be pasta pilled, but not indulge yourself in even a second of pasta themed conversation? Fake pasta enjoyer, you will pay for your crimes soon. That's a bit of an overreaction, don't you think? What's your favorite pasta? Spaghetti, cavatappi, rigatoni, macaroni? I want to know from you guys. Why do Ronald McDonald and his gang even hang out with a Hamburglar, given his history? Doesn't that kind of make you worry? Talk about guilt by association a lot when you're investigating crimes, and if Hamburglar is like a known felon, guilty of the crime of Hamburglary, what does that mean? Does that mean Ronald is a shot caller? And what about Birdie and Grimace? I'm concerned. And it would be one thing if they just existed, but they are also like the role models for our children. So, weirdly, if you excuse me as I finish my breakfast, for some reason, burglars used to be like a very common archetype, because I remember even Cookie Crisp for a while had burglars as their mascots. There were two burglars trying to steal Cookie Crisp, and an Irish cop, that was always trying to stop them from stealing Cookie Crisp. And at some point, the Cookie Crisp mascot got replaced with someone else. But even like Lucky Charms, there's some element of robbery going on, because they're always after his Lucky Charms. I don't know, just something to think about. Unironically true. McDonald's ice cream machines are made by the Taylor Company, which prohibits McDonald's locations from repairing the machines, so they have to call Taylor to have them fixed for a fee. The machine's purpose is not to make ice cream. Its purpose is to need repairs. Are we figuring out the system? Did we just take off our glasses in the Matrix? The system's designed to break. It's not designed to function. According to Wikipedia, the purpose of a system is what it does. It's a system thinking heuristic coined by Stafford Beer, which, boy, that guy's got a hell of a name, who observed that there is no point in claiming that the purpose of a system is to do what it constantly fails to do. We apply this to government. I don't think it's even unironically true that our federal government is designed to break. Now, no, don't get me wrong. No one hates the federal government more than me. But we used to have this system whereby the king would just kind of decide a thing, and then it would be law. And yeah, they had parliament, around the time when the colonies were coming around. And so you had sort of a system there of executives and legislatures. And the Magna Carta goes all the way back to 1215, which by law is the only thing you're required to know about the Magna Carta. But Charlemagne's powers were seriously curbed. But anyway, King George III, he would just capriciously say things, like, guess what? You have more sugar and stamp taxes now. And we didn't get a say on that. So now, in order to limit our government, the president can say things, but then Congress can strike it down. And apparently so can the judiciary, even though that was never their role as defined by Congress or by the Constitution. And so the purpose of a system is to break down. But I think our system of government has evolved to the point now where it's functioning exactly as it's intended, in that it preserves the status quo, preserves power for the elites, and keeps you paying for it. Not to depress you on Monday. It's already depressing enough. But instead of thinking that the system needs to be fixed and that we need to bring in someone that can fix the system and do it differently, perhaps the system just needs to be destroyed. All that from a meme. That's the premise of this show. No baby on board. Okay to hit. I have no child. Just go ahead and take me out. Let's check on your comments from this morning. Rigatoni is what some people likes. You're an impasta. That was a terrible joke. Tortellini, greatest origin story for a pasta. Elijah, I'm going to have you on the show just to tell me the story of tortellini. You should call in sometime. And I know you're probably at work right now, probably saving somebody's life in your ill-defined role as a first responder, but I think you're a fireman fighter. But you've only ever implied that. Like when you were talking about the firefighters in Idaho that got ambushed, you kind of talked about how you as a firefighter don't appreciate that sort of shenanigans. My sister likes rigatoni and manicotti. I remember you eating manicotti a lot at Van Costa's. I don't remember what it is. Is it just like pasta filled with ricotta? I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. Lauren, good morning. Foxy, hello. Lauren, always good to see you. Will Craig, good morning. Hope work up in the Twin Cities is going okay. If you're working outside, I feel bad for you. It is humid as hell today. Tallius's fun fact, the reason there are different shapes of pastas is to enhance various types of sauces. I can believe that. It's very, very Italian to just conceive of pasta as merely a vessel for sauce. That seems like a very Italian thing to do. Fat Electrician did a video on the ice cream machine. I believe I'd probably like to watch that. I'm very into the veil being lifted. I used to work at Wendy's and the frosting machine never broke. You know what? I know someone else that worked at Wendy's way back in the day, back in the 80s, which may have been when you worked there, Talio. I don't know. But the frosty machine never broke there either. I've also watched videos on the frosty, and perhaps this is intuitive to people, but I'll just drop some facts on you because if this show doesn't edify you, then nothing else will. But the frosty is intentionally half chocolate and half vanilla. Dave Thomas tried the first frosty that came out that was 100% chocolate, or however you define that. And he said it's too chocolatey. It's too chocolatey by half. So the original frosty that we all know and love is half chocolate, half vanilla. Now, of course, we have the vanilla frosty. We've had the orange frosty and various other strawberry frosties and all these other flavors. I'm a big fan of the frosty, but I haven't had it in many years. He fights firemen, fireman fighter. Actually, you know what's funny? If you were going to call anyone a fireman fighter, it would be me. Not only because I have feelings in my heart against firemen, but also once I had a seizure, and when they were pulling me out of my car, I guess I got a little rowdy. And that's why I was strapped down in the back of the ambulance. I have no memory of that, which is sad. I wish I could savor the memory. And the thing is like, where does that come from? Because my personality is such that I would never fight anybody. I mean, I would if I had to, like in prison or whatever. But I got a big mouth and I can't back it up. I also like dishing it out, but I can't take it. I'm very sensitive. So I just wish I had the memory of me like tussling with them. Like giant penne with a ricotta inside. Okay, I'm aware of manicotti then. I've seen that. Cheese stuffed pastas are amazing. It's a big ass penne. My sister maybe describes it a little bit more eloquently than Will Cry. Oh, you're working out in Montana. Hopefully at a higher elevation where maybe the air is a little bit more less humid. I'm good. The new term is they, them, akati. Yeah, we don't do that around here. Hi to everyone saying hi. Jenny's doing payroll. Back to the beams. Where was I at? I can never tell. They changed it so that I can't hardly see the memes now. They're so small. This is me. Need to sleep so bad, but it feels so good clicking on stuff. Yeah. That's me. So like last night I got back home from work at 1 and I'm like, well, you know, I need to take some anti-inflammatories so that I can sleep better. And then so I watch an episode of TV and then I go to bed and I'm like, wow, I'm only going to get like 4 hours of sleep. So I better go to sleep. And so I go to sleep, or I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And yeah, of course, I just lay down and scroll. So maybe you guys are the same. My husband gives people the thumbs down instead of flicking them off from the car. He reports that the thumbs down makes people even more mad. And of course, Thea says, I once had someone wag their finger at me, and to this day, I have not forgotten how upset it made me. I was driving through a small Minnesota town some months ago. I think it was, gosh, when would that have been? Maybe after the Super Bowl or something. So it was probably the first protest of Donald Trump doing anything. And I was driving through this small town in Minnesota that's got a big college in it. So obviously it's like filled up with liberals. And they're doing some kind of protest against something. Who knows what it is? But I drive through town. And they're all gathered out on the main highway that goes through that town, which is US 169. And they're all against Donald Trump. And then there's other people that are driving up and down the same street. They're driving in pickup trucks, blasting country music, and they've got Trump flags and American flags in the back. So they're just kind of egging them on. But as I drive by, I slow down and I look at them and I see what they're all about. And I just go like this. I don't even know what they're what they're going on about. I don't know what they're upset about. But I'm just like, boo. And that's worse than flipping them off. So and I don't care, people could protest anything they want. But if you ever just want to antagonize someone, maybe don't go for the rudest thing, because I think when they see the finger, I think that they're ready for that, and that's a bullet that bounces right off their armor. That they're ready to see your middle finger when they go out there. But I don't think that they're ready to just say you're just disapproving of whatever they're doing. Thumbs down. What you mean? Probably what I fucking said, you fucking idiot. This is me. I get frustrated because I feel like I'm fairly eloquent. I feel like I explained myself well. And then professional circles, certainly, but also personal circles were like, yeah, well, what do you mean by that? I'm like, well, I mean what I said. Like, if you didn't understand me the first time, you're not going to understand the second time. It would take more time to explain it to you. There's more comments. Let's see what people say. We don't take kindly to that around here. I'm in Miles City, Montana. It's not that humid right now. I have work down in Rapid City in about a week, too. I'm all over now. I've been to Rapid City before. It's not all it's cracked up to be. They aren't so small. You're just getting older, Jonathan, and losing your vision. No, StreamYard's actually changing it so that it's worse. I should probably, at some point, just get a big computer monitor like this and I would put it here, but then you wouldn't be able to see my face. I need it for editing, though. Like, now that I'm editing, I'm constantly having to resize everything. It's such a pain. Thumbs down is the way to go. Make sure you show your disapproval politely with a thumbs down. Elijah says, I'm a part-time firefighter for one agency, part-time EMT for another. Would gladly fight some of my coworkers. So he gets it. He knows. Thumbs up is more passive-aggressive. Yeah, if you're going to text them. I've seen that the thumbs up emoji, which I don't use emojis, is very passive aggressive. Will Cray says, oh yes, the STD capital of Minnesota. You probably think that I was talking about Mankato. I was not. I was talking about St. Peter. I would be very surprised if St. Peter is the STD capital of Minnesota, because St. Peter seems nice. They got a nice downtown area. But maybe you mean St. Peter. I don't know. I don't live there. Sometimes when people are obviously mad at me when I'm driving, I wave at them. That is also confusing. Kill people with kindness. I do that too. Actually, tell you, I don't know, you haven't been watching me too long, but I've said on this show and now other shows before that I never get road rage, ever. And that's not to say that driving around these parts ain't difficult. In the town that I lived in for 20 years, it's actually incredibly difficult. Whenever I go back, I can't believe I lived there that long, but I generally don't get frustrated when I'm driving. And the reason for that is I'm the problem. I'm the one that's causing issues. So why would I be mad? I'm the one that's bad at driving. I've never claimed to be a good driver. In fact, that was one of the early things I talked about on the show, was how most people think they're above average when it comes to driving. However, mathematically, that can't be true. You probably have a huge cluster of people that are average drivers and a very few number of people that are above average. possibly even if you wanted to look at it really strictly, there's one average driver, and everybody's above, and half of people are above and half of people are below. But I'm definitely below average, and so I never get mad. Here's my complaint. I only get one, so I had to make it good. I made biscuits and gravy for breakfast yesterday, and I didn't get to eat any. Check today, and there's no sausage. There's sausage gravy, but no biscuits. Sister, if I could, I would have biscuits delivered to your house. You would just tell me not to, and by the time they got there, I'm sure it would be lunchtime, and so I'm sorry about that. If I'd known, I would have sent some. I haven't had biscuits and gravy in forever. I should go to Hardee's and get some, right? I like that when you work 24-hour shifts there. There's some people that is way too much time. I don't like working 24 hours. I don't think I could ever do that. I think it's not a good work-life balance. I would not like having a whole day spent at work. What else? The thumbs down is like your dad being disappointed in you. Boo! That's what I did too. I went, boo, no. And I don't even know what they were mad about. Because I don't watch the news so closely. Thumbs down and a real sad face. Yeah. Other people were trolling him, getting him hyped up. I was just, oh. But the thing is that also levels them up. They like to go out there, and if they get any reaction from you whatsoever, it makes them feel like they're making a difference. And the truth is they're not making a difference, other than just making them feel like they're engaged and they're fighting the power and they're Peter Pan and they have their Captain Hook and it gives them purpose. Some reason to wake up on a Saturday morning, because they're obviously not into sports either. As Taylor Swift said, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I was thinking more like Morgan Wallen, I believe. If I'm the problem, maybe you're the reason. Is how that song goes. It's about a guy where the girl's breaking up with him and she says that he's so bad. And he's just like, well, if I'm so bad, then why'd you love me so much? Why do you keep coming back around? Like, maybe it's you. I like that song because I was always made to believe that it was my fault whenever a breakup happened. I like Rain Man. Rain Man is an excellent driver. Boy, I haven't seen that movie since forever. The last time I saw the movie Rain Man, I was watching it on VHS. Foods don't have a time of day. Eggs Benedict for dinner? Yum. Okay. I don't know what your deal is or why you're trying to make peace with me for all time, but breakfast is the way that we'll do it. You and I can have breakfast anytime. I will eat breakfast all 3 meals. I know Jenny hates breakfast. Jonathan, the only trade of working 24 hours is you get to work 10 days total in a month, so you get lots of time off. I guess technically for me, it would save me a lot of gas and time and money that I spend driving, because I do commute 10 hours a week. So if I could get that money or that time back, I mean, that would be a lot for me. I love breakfast. Back to the memes. We have so many memes. I don't have time to talk. Why am I even talking? What if water didn't have surface tension, and whenever you spilled something, the whole floor of your entire apartment was covered in a 2 micrometer deep puddle? You taught me to count blessings I didn't know were mine. Here's the thing, though, that if you spilled water and it didn't have surface tension and it just expanded to a pool, like a couple micrometers, that would be bad because your floor would be slippery and wet. But I also think it would evaporate really quickly. Like, turn on a fan and 5 seconds later, all the water will be gone, because like the surface area would be expanded to such that it would all be able to evaporate essentially at the same time, depending on how big of a space and how much volume of water you have. But when water's in a puddle and it's evaporating, it's only the area of the water that's in contact with the air that's capable of evaporating into vapor. So I think it would be an inconvenience for the water. It would be slippery, but I think it would be over sooner. And I don't think you would need paper towels. I don't know. Physics would be really different if that was the case. I already did that one. Cashier. Well, you're about 8 cents short. It's only 8 cents. Can you just let me slide? No. Slides the cashier $20. What about now? 1992 will be your change. I know that real adults do multiple loads of laundry for different colored clothes, but I've been putting all my clothes in at the same time, and I'm just saying nothing bad has happened yet. I do not do this. I was taught practically nothing as a child, nothing of import, nothing that I need to sustain myself, but I was taught that brights, whites, and darks all get separated. Perhaps it's because I'm from the South. I don't know. They say white people don't have their own culture, but I just got invited to a gender reveal party for a dog. And there's no way we appropriated that from someone else. You know, some other cultures have some really bad traditions. I'll never forget being in high school and being asked to write a paper about my family's cultural traditions and our heritage, and me and just writing, "We're white, we don't have anything." Like, if I was smart, I would have written like, we always sing Christmas carols and we read from the Bible and we eat hot dogs on the 4th of July. Those are cultural traditions. But I was watching this video of this tradition in some country in Africa, and I always feel bad when I say that because it's like, it turns out there's more than a couple countries in Africa. Like there's as many as 5. And I'm sure that they're all different and they have their own unique cultures and traditions. But there's this thing called paying for the smile at a wedding. And so I'm watching this video, and it's at a wedding in Africa. And the tradition is during the reception, everybody's partying, right? There's dance music, everyone's happy, but the bride is seated at a table and she is stone-faced. She is not happy. And all these people are coming up and kind of like counting down bills and laying down fat stacks of cash in front of her, and she's not happy. And it's a lot of money that's getting dished out to her. I don't know if they're singles. I pray that they are. But the tradition is called buying the smile. And so you basically just keep paying the bride until she smiles. And this whole time, people are like putting down cash in front of her, and she just looks like she's got resting bitch face. And it just like, without some kind of nuanced understanding of how that started or what it means, it absolutely looks like entitlement in progress. It looks like somebody who's not happy about their food stamps no longer covering soda and candy. Anyway, I just thought that was a strange tradition. What do I know? I don't know. If you relate to me, please seek help immediately. This should have been the first meme that I put out. If you relate to me, seek help immediately. I can't be saved, but maybe you can. A fun thing you can do when making a large purchase like a TV or a refrigerator is to ask if it's snake-proof. Is this snake-proof? Will this keep snakes out? Immediately followed up with, the fact that you're hesitating is very concerning to me. Is this TV snake-proof? I have a feeling this applies to more than just Midwesterners, but let us have our own complaints. Can you fix some of these potholes? Best I could do is close every road at once. I remember, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, I could not get to work. There was no road that got into the town I lived in. It could not be done. There's a limited number of ways to access this town because you shut down the main highway that goes in and out. Then there's a north and south road that runs perpendicular to that. That got shut down right in city limits. So the city shut that down. The Department of Transportation shut down the highway outside of town. And it was like, I had to go, I had to either like go like ford the river, because I think the bridge was out at one point too. And it's just like, this town's an island. Like, you literally have to park in a cornfield and just, you have to walk a mile just to get into city limits. It was so insane. I don't think some of these different agencies that shut down roads, I don't think they coordinate with each other, and they basically created a town that time forgot, or that was cut off from the rest of society, like that Batman comic. I don't remember what it was called, but basically Gotham City gets cut off from the rest of the United States, or like Under the Dome by Stephen King, where like you just can't get into the town because there's a big glass dome over it. That's pretty much what happened. Maybe I'm just a hopeless romantic, but every October I fantasize about being married and waking up brutally hungover on a Sunday morning to get my insufferable wife demanding me to get out of bed because she wants to spend the day at the pumpkin patch with our irritable infant child. That's the dream, right? Is that what I'm missing out on? So that I'm not waking up on Sundays hungover and taking the baby out to the pumpkin patch? I don't think I would wake up hungover. And I don't know. Going to the pumpkin patch doesn't sound so bad, but the baby being irritable, what can you do? A Seinfeld fan could easily overpower an Office fan. Fight me. I used to believe that The Office was a superior show to Seinfeld. In fact, I was one of the OG fans of The Office. I watched those original 6 episodes. I remember watching those 6 over and over and over again for like a year and a half before before they got commissioned to make more episodes. And then the first season was good. And then the second season was just, by that point, it was about a middling comedy. It was as good as any other show. And then Michael Scott, because of GPS, drove his car into a pond. And I'm like, well, he's just Homer Simpson now. He's doing stuff that's so stupid that Homer Simpson would do. I stopped watching the show at that point. That's when the show jumped the shark for me. But in recent years, I've rediscovered Seinfeld. I never was a big Seinfeld watcher when I was younger. But now, especially since I'm an adult, and I can understand being 30 years old in New York City. That show is much funnier. It's much more cleverly written. And I occasionally check back in on The Office. And then by the time they're actually making the movie Threat Level Midnight and doing whoever that stupid girl is that replaced Tam as the receptionist, she's making a music video. I'm like, this isn't what the show was supposed to be. It was supposed to be about the most boring company on earth. And now they're trying to make all these characters interesting when they were never supposed to be. That was the point, is that they were boring. Oh boy, there's a lot of comments. It's kind of the downside of inviting people to the show. There's a lot of people to talk to now. Hopefully you're all just talking to each other. I hope you have a meme about the billionaire getting caught at Kiss Cam. I don't. Did you see the thumbnail? It says no Coldplay memes on the thumbnail, Tally. If you back out and you see the thumbnail, it says no Coldplay memes. It was very tough this week on my algorithm to avoid the Coldplay memes, but I didn't think they were that funny. I thought that situation was terrible. I think that a family is destroyed, and I think people made mistakes, and now they should have had to deal with this, with the fallout and ramifications of that, and not on a national stage. And also, I just didn't think they were that funny. I don't know. Maybe Midwesterners apply their hysterical all or nothing logic to road repairs. Maybe. That's a way of thinking about it. There's like 4 roads in that town that cross the river. They had construction on 2 of them at once a couple years ago. She's not even in the Midwest and she gets it. Elijah says 3 of the 5 main highways in St. Louis and only 1 level 1 trauma center are going to be closed for the next 18 months. It sucks. Jeez. Office for life. Yeah, The Office is every episode past when Michael drives his car into the pond is progressively lamer. Tanner, how do you feel about the police slogan of being safer, stronger, smarter together? I've never heard that slogan. Have you guys seen Red Flag Guy's take on romantic relationships? I don't even know who that is. Never have I ever watched an episode of The Office. Only watched like the first 10. He burned his foot on the George Foreman grill. That's in the first 10 episodes. Very early episode. He does that before he drives into the pond. I can prove it because I've seen it. If Seinfeld turns out to be more than just an arrogant SOB and is a creepy pervert, I will lose all faith in humanity. Well, do you not remember that when he was 35, he was dating someone who was 17? Anyway. I don't know. Whatever. Flight attendant. Do we have a doctor on board? I have a PhD in mathematics. One passenger is having a heart attack and the other passenger is having an asthma attack. That makes 2. Keep going. I'm keeping up. Tony Hawk posted on his Twitter. Text me at 760-492-6712. For real, it's me. Somebody texts him. Hey, Tony, what's up? Scamped board. I think his Twitter got hacked. What do you think? Oh, should we even do this one? I try not to do the choose options because everyone fights over it and we talk about it for 10 minutes. But which one are you bringing back? The volcano taco? I love that one. I love that it was actually something spicy. Talk about the Cheetos burrito. I never even had volcano burrito. I mean, that's kind of like the taco, but a burrito. The enchilito, I don't even remember ever having the enchilito, so maybe. I was a big fan of the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos taco. I honestly don't know why that one went away. But broadly speaking, I'm a big fan of blue Doritos. Everyone else likes red Doritos, but I like the blue ones. And then Captain Crunch Delights, which, of course, we all know is authentic New Mexican cuisine. I never even knew it was there, so I guess I would prefer to bring it back so that I can try it. But what do you guys say? Which one do you guys want to see come back? I need to find some tape. Damn bleeder. Okay, so he's bleeding. That's not good. Have you seen interviews with Tony Hawk where his brother Anthony came through an airport a few days ago and everyone was so excited they never realized it was him? I don't know much about Tony Hawk. Captain Crunch Delights, Jenny says she's probably having those at some point. Tony Hawk was here for the weekend and left skateboards at the park. Boy, Tony Hawk is people love him, I guess. I did not know that. Jonathan, have you tried the Flaming Hot Cool Ranch Doritos? I have had them. I did not love them. I thought they were just okay. I learned to love The Office, but it made me so uncomfortable at first. Yeah, that was when it was good, when it had those cringy moments that seemed to stretch forever. If you like that kind of comedy, watch Nathan For You's by Nathan Fielder on Comedy Central. You could find it on platforms now, but he could basically take that Michael Scott moment and stretch it out to an entire half hour. Tanner, what's confusing you? We're bringing back something in Taco Bell. I say the Taco Bell food is always cold. I don't know about that. It's the kind of food that doesn't necessarily taste better hot. So what does it matter if it's cold? Nobody has big feelings on Taco Bell today. That's okay. We don't have to do that. So I don't know who Nick Adams is. He looks like he's probably a congressman or a senator. I don't know. Don't care. But he writes, I am an alpha male. So for some reason, there's a big predilection for being an alpha male amongst men who are most definitely not alpha males. They're always posting memes about having a wolf inside of them. They're always tough talking on the keyboard. They're always saying, I would have joined the army, but I would have punched the drill sergeant. They're always saying things like this because they're very insecure. And they have to just get in everyone's face about how they're the ultimate badass. Here's the thing about a real alpha male, if there even is such a thing. An alpha male never has to tell you that he is. It would just be obvious. But let's see what his list is of what defines an alpha male. And I'm going to contrast this to my own sense of strong masculinity, because I'm not perfect. I'm not probably the best model of masculinity, but I think I do some things well. I think I'm an okay guy. He says, I prefer the company of other men. I prefer the company of no one. That's the thing about alpha wolves is that, a lot of times I guess they're by themselves. I don't know. I don't want to get too lost in the metaphor. I like being by myself. I drive the ball an average of 302 yards. I think golf is a sissy game. And I think if you're bragging, that's not a very alpha male thing to do. I think you should let your game speak for itself. But he has to brag. He has to tell you how far he drives the ball. But I don't think golf is an alpha male sport. It's not a contact sport. You don't show how tough you are by swinging a club and hitting a ball that's probably weighs what, 5 ounces? Don't get me wrong, it takes some skill, but I don't think it makes you an alpha male. I dine at Hooters 4 to 6 times a week. This just shows me that you have terrible taste in food and you don't know how to manage your money effectively if you're eating out all the time. To me, an alpha male is someone that knows how to cook well, can cook for his family, knows how to cook a steak. I think knowing how to prepare a steak at home and over an open flame of some kind, I'm not even going to get on you about it needing to be charcoal over propane, but I think that would make you an alpha male, not eating at Hooters 4 to 6 times a week. I watch every Trump rally start to finish. This is where I wonder, like, is this all sarcastic? But he says at the bottom, I have no intention of apologizing for any of it. So I think he's being sincere. Every Trump rally is essentially the same. I've watched a bunch of them. He talks about the same stuff in every single one. So I like my steaks big and medium rare. Okay. That's like the first thing that he said that is at all masculine. I drink coffee hot and black. Okay. That's fine. I think a trait of an American is that you can have your coffee however you like it. So if you want to have some cream in there so that you can have some calories, I think that's fine. Adding some fat to your coffee will help you feel full and give you sustained energy throughout the day just beyond the caffeine. I go hard in the paint. Well, that's a basketball metaphor, and basketball is not that manly of a sport either. So whatever. I don't eat at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is just Hooters, but without the boobies. So I don't know what statement you're making by saying you don't eat at Pizza Hut. Pizza's good. You can probably get pizza at Hooters. I don't eat female M&Ms. I wasn't aware that any of the M&Ms actually had sex. M&Ms actually were a candy created for soldiers. Chocolates would tend to melt when they were being shipped overseas or out into the battlefield. So they put them in a hard candy shell so that real men could have chocolate in their field kits to eat. So pretty sure that all M&Ms are pretty manly. I spend ample time in the hot tub with my boys. That seems kind of gay to me. That doesn't seem alpha male. If one of your main pastimes is trucker soup, then to me that doesn't seem all that manly or alpha male. I lift weights every day. Could be good. Lifting weights every day isn't necessarily a good way to gain strength or to build muscle mass. You have to actually recover because your time in recovery is when you are hypertrophic. So I like how he's like, I lift weights every day. Well, you may not be good at weightlifting if you're doing it every day. I eat a diet of 80% protein and 0% soy, meaning leaving us to wonder what is the other 20%. Since he didn't say, it's not necessarily fat. Maybe he just can't do math. I don't take water breaks. What's funny about that is that the NFL back in the day, in the 1950s and 60s, you were seen as weak if you drank water during practice. But the best performing athletes on earth all drink water. So that's kind of dumb. I close major business deals every day. Good for you. I'm not sure that makes you manly. Maybe that just makes you a good negotiator. I think women could probably do that too. I'm fluent in 3+ languages. That's great. Again, not necessarily a manly trait because women do that. Highly educated, women also do that. Devilishly handsome. I've met a woman who's devilishly handsome. You guys think I'm devilishly handsome? Never mind. I don't want to. I'm extremely charismatic. I'm not touching that one. So all this to say, what I thought was an ironic list of things that people think make an alpha male. I think this guy actually believes about himself, and I found it terribly pathetic. That said, a Pizza Hut buffet would fix me. Look at this. You're going to tell me that going to the Pizza Hut buffet and having this makes me any less of a man? I mean, if I overeat, if I don't tip well, if I'm rude to the server, if I get grease all over me, if I'm a pig, those things would make me less than a man. But I don't think going to the Pizza Hut buffet would make me less than a man. The actor who portrays Voldemort in the new Harry Potter has already been cast, but he won't be announced to hide any potential backlash. Oh, he's black as fuck. They don't want to tell you. There's a reason for that. It has something to do with Snow White, I'm guessing they're trying to. They probably signed the ink on the contract, and now they want to back out of it after they've seen some of the backlash to these things. By the way, Wendy's Solarium would also fix me. We mentioned Wendy's earlier, and very fond memories in the Solarium. I'm a big fan of Stephen King. I liked his works better when he used to do a lot of cocaine. I think ever since he got sober, his writing has gotten significantly shitty. It's been a long time since he's written a book that I thought was truly amazing. In fact, one of his stories called The Institute is currently being made into a TV show. The Institute was literally X-Men. It's about government gathering all these kids together who have superpowers. As I'm reading this, it starts out the story of this guy that's like, he's a fired policeman. He's got a past. He has to settle for this job as a night watchman in a small town. No one will say what happened to the guy that had the job before him. I'm like, this is some good Stephen King shit. It's a town full of vampires. Stephen King writes quite a bit of crime too. So it's like, did the mob take him out? Does this little town have a mob? No, it turned into X-Men. It was absolutely terrible. But anyway, Stephen King has the worst takes on Twitter. Always has, always will. In fact, when Twitter got bought by X, and all of a sudden you were getting all kinds of differing ideas on there, he said, Twitter used to be a lot more fun. And somebody told him, like, oh yeah, you liked it back when it was just an echo chamber for all of your ideas, but now people are having to say things that are different than what you're saying, and they're not getting censored. But so Stephen King always has the worst takes, and now he agrees with Donald Trump that the Epstein client list is real, only so real as the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. So none of us believe Donald Trump, but somehow Stephen King, continuing to zig and zag away from common sense, once again has zigged, this time aligning with Donald Trump away from common sense. I don't even know what to make out of that guy. There's 28 comments. How do I even address that many comments? I hope you're not still bleeding. He sounds super insecure. What are female M&Ms? I think the green and brown ones. In the cartoons, I think those are the ones that are female, but I don't think of the yellow M&Ms or the red M&Ms as male. Not only that, I hate to get into this, but it's like, if you're only eating the male M&Ms, isn't that kind of like homoerotic or something? I don't know. I hate to like actually make that a thing, but he made it a thing. I would never even think that. He sounds super insecure. It's one thing for him to think these things, but then for him to post that on the internet too. And this is like supposed to be a congressman. This is someone who like decides if we go to war. He decides if your son goes to war. He decides if your son dies in Iran. And he posted that. Doesn't sound very mature to me. You can make whatever you want out of his masculinity. He sounds like a little boy. One of my all-time favorite Office skits is when Dwight screams Mr. Buttlicker during a training session. I don't even remember that. He seems to be bragging about this, or trying. Let's ask Kiefer about his golf game. I make fun of Kiefer and his little duckbill cap and all that. The fact that they wear silly clothes and they have a caddy and the whole thing. I think that it's okay to embrace the absurdity of the game, and it's okay to like golf. I think I don't think it would be very masculine of me or height of my alpha male if I put down what someone else was doing, unless it was soccer. They can do whatever they want to do, but like, don't brag that like your golf skills make you an alpha male, because I don't think that they do. I think they just mean that you're good at golf, because there's probably a woman that can outdrive you, someone from the Women's Professional Golf Association, or just some woman who's good at golf could probably outdrive you. So what does that mean for your alpha male status if a woman could outdrive you? Maybe 302 yards is really good. I don't know. Oh, only manly sport to Jonathan is football in the 70s. Well, through the 70s, it was certainly manful at all times prior to that. And really, I would say even through probably to the year 2000. The other 20% is tacos. Poor Pizza Hut is almost just a memory. Taliu, there's actually a Pizza Hut in your state that still runs it the old way. I just it's about 4 hours from your house, so I don't feel like recommending it to you. I want a man who doesn't lift weights because if he ever loses his shit, have a fighting chance to survive. This makes me feel very sad. What about a man who lifts weights and then just uses it to help you move things? I lift weights and I would never hit a woman. John, I can't tell if you're handsome until we meet in Washington. Oh, right. Washington, D.C. Right. When you come down and you become a guy that liaises. You ain't bad to look at. Even my sister thinks I'm okay looking. Does it get a little bit like your mom saying you clean up nice? I always hated that. I would be told that a lot. I remember when I was getting fitted for a tux for my older sister's wedding. I was at the mall, and one of my elementary school teachers was there. I don't remember which one. But she said, you clean up nice. And it's just like, so I look like a slob most of the time. And I think I knew that because like, I haven't really changed in terms of like how I dress, but it's just like, when you tell a man you clean up nice, it's a kind of a backhanded compliment, and I never appreciated it. And whatever, if a man has that coming to him, then they have it coming. But when a man puts on a tux, try to treat him the way you would want to be treated if you just put on a really good looking dress. Say, damn, you look like James Bond, like oversell it a little bit. Like a compliment like that will carry me for a whole year. You know what I mean? John, you do not have a face for radio. Of course, you are handsome. Okay, I wasn't actually prompting for that, but I appreciate you guys saying that. Pizza Hut is just a memory. What is left of pizza is a fraction of what they used to be. That's true. There are still a few Pizza Huts left that are still good. You just have to know where to look. And as far as I know, they're not in Canada. King also has gotten way too fucking political. Oh, Stephen King? When was he not political? He hated Nixon. He's been doing all this for 50 years. I take care of my wife and kids and go to church because Jesus is the way. That's all I need to know to show I'm a man. Plus having a penis. Seems like he's got it mostly figured out. John, you're much better looking than Tyler from Antihero. That's all you're getting from me. Well, what does Tyler from Antihero look like? First of all, I'm glad that there's some kind of like comparisons. But like he wears his hat and his sunglasses. And am I allowed to say this now? Because like I'm fully separated from Tyler, right? That was never a thing. He and I were never anything. Kind of a douche. Anyone else get that vibe from him? I don't know. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Maybe he's nice. I don't know. I never really talked to him, I guess. All I know is that I made his intro theme for his show, which I don't think he uses anymore. I paid $20 for the licensing for it, and I never got reimbursed. That's just $20. It's not very manful to say that another man owes me a petty debt, is it? That's a great example of me not being alpha male. Some guy out there owes me $20. That was very petty. I apologize. Green and brown are boy colors. I don't know if they are. I think they're neutrals. Stephen King in his heyday was unreadable. Strung out on cocaine, nose bleeding drips in his typewriter. Storylines were great, but too many words. I think you're thinking of It. That was a book he put together without an editor. That book was way too long. Define loser because in the moment I'm feeling like one. Well, you're allowed to feel like one, Tyler, but everything I know about you is that you have a job and that you take care of your, I believe, daughters and your wife, even though she makes you mad sometimes. You seem like a winner to me, and I'm sorry you're having a bad day, but tomorrow holds the promise of being better. Elijah's taking off. I got to go save lives. Change a smoke detector for some rich old person. I know. Time and money well spent. Everybody lift up Tyler. He's having a worse day than usual. Jonathan, take it back. That golf clothes are lame. I love wearing my little golf skirts. You probably dress better than men at the golf course, though. That's who I'm talking about. Golf clothes for men are lame. I get backed up pretty quick. Any skirt on a lady is all good. See, I think you know. Salamander's saying I'm cute or someone else is. I have no way of knowing. I don't take offense to clean up nice because I do. Well, I'm glad you do. But wouldn't it be nice if they just said, damn, Tyler, you look like James Bond? Or, whatever your equivalent is. It's a nice way of saying you look good without being weird. Yeah, but it's like saying you clean up nice is like saying, well, most of the time you look dirty. I'm telling you as a man that I never liked it. Other men don't have to care. I'm just saying I never liked that. And I heard it a lot because I looked like a slob a lot of the time. So yes, I deserved it, but I didn't like hearing it. I just want to hear a compliment. John, you look good. John, you look handsome. That really suits you. It fits you. You look sharp, handsome. All right. That's the man. High five me. Looking good. These are all great. Rather than you clean up well. Because it's a comparison. A man in a tuxedo is an endearing sight. Apparently, I need to reread King's work. See, the thing is that it's not a manful trait to bash other people either. So I shouldn't have called him a douche. But I know that he was not kind to a lot of people that I'm friends with. You guys probably know more than I do on that even. So he wasn't kind to people that I considered friends. So there you go. I was so pissed off watching it when it was an oversized spider in a cave. It reminded me of a Gilligan's Island episode. I don't even know what you're talking about now, but I was not a big Gilligan's Island fan. All right. I just told you were cute. What more do you want? I didn't know you meant me. Maybe you mean someone else. Thank you for saying I'm cute, I guess. I appreciate that. I'll just say thank you because I'm not good at taking compliments as well discussed on this show. So thank you for saying a nice thing. I don't regret anything I've said, John. I'm not cutting up my words. What have you said? Some of his books are my favorites. I think I've got a first edition of The Dead Zone here. This is a favorite book of mine. It truly is. A fateful love story about a guy who's a failed presidential assassin. Sort of interesting. And then like The Stand was a good one too. Kind of a dark allegory for the Bible. And then I've also got a book here, Stephen King on Writing, that teaches you how to write. And I've got other books of his elsewhere. I hope I didn't lose the microphone when I bumped it. Oh, it was an alien spider, I thought. I didn't see the movies, so I don't know. I did not like the book. I thought the book was way too long, and the book had scenes of kids being inappropriate with each other, which I felt was too far. I don't have a lot of rules when it comes to fiction and dark stuff, but like, I don't know what kind of mind you have, particularly as a father, like if that's the stuff that you're writing. Was that the drugs or was that him? I don't know. So what is so wrong with doing coke to your nosebleeds? I don't know, Tyler. You're having a bad day, so I'm not going to get into it. I've never read a Stephen King book. So you've never read a Stephen King book. You've never seen The Office. You've lived a very different life than me, Jenny. That's okay. Not here necessarily to put you down. I still think about the YouTube to MP3 converter sometimes. I was still using this until very recently. Mostly for production work, but I've moved on to other things. Angrily to the waiter at Olive Garden. Okay, well, I've seen real angel hair, and that is not what it looks like. Back to the pasta debate. I like angel hair. Buttered noodles, favorite of mine. Buttered noodles with Parmesan, and then maybe shrimp on there. Butter, butter shrimp, Parmesan, angel hair, or regular spaghetti. That's good enough for me. I don't need much else. Maybe oil. I don't need much for sauce. A little lemon juice, maybe, if I get the shrimp in there. Let's pause for a moment and appreciate the fact that most famous novel on propaganda, 1984, will be rewritten to conform to modern propaganda. George Orwell's estate approves the retelling of 1984 from a woman's point of view. 1984 shouldn't be rewritten. I don't think really any book should be. And the fact that it's being told from a woman's point of view, I don't know, just smells of modern sentiment. And the idea that you would rewrite a book, very Orwellian. Can I interest you in the fact that if you get promoted as a garbage man enough times in New York City, you get to, or have to, dress like a general? This is how you can tell that the unions have gone too far. Because the garbage man union says they look at the police department and they're like, why don't we have what the police have? The cops got it all. They got snazzy class A's and they get special cop funerals. Well, what about a garbage man? So here, for some reason, they literally have badges, which to me just seems like someone's going to use that for the wrong reason. Like, hey, I'm a garbage man. Like, don't mess with me. You know, impersonating a police officer, the abuse of power, I guess, as a garbage man might have. But then they have like service ribbons. Look at their badges. They have badges like you fought at the battle of what? Of the dump on Long Island? What do your service medals mean? Does like the red one mean employee of the month and the blue one mean employee of the quarter? What could you possibly have for service ribbons as a garbage man? And yeah, look at their epaulets. The guy on the far left, he's a 4-star garbage man general. What is this shit? And how much money is spent on these uniforms with the little scrambled eggs on their caps and their official photos with the city of New York flag? I cannot imagine how much money gets spent on this shit. And look at their egos. They're all, first of all, most of them here look like garbage men. The two guys on the right definitely do. Puffed up. Look at their egos. You know, there's not a piece of litter in this town that goes where it's supposed to be without my say-so, you know. Come on. This is government at its worst. And cops are the same way too sometimes. If you ever see a cop or a sheriff and he's got 5 stars on his uniform, it's like, I get you need some kind of rank insignia or something so that people can recognize you for being the leader, but put the colonel bird on there. You know, you don't have to be a general if you're in a small department. You could just be a colonel. If you're the sheriff, no one's above you. You're the colonel. So you can have a command staff that's based off of majors and captains and first lieutenants and second lieutenants. And it's just nonsense. But even the garbage men have this. Every cigarette you smoke takes 7 minutes off your student loan debt. I know I've played that one before, but it's back, baby. Normalize. No. Normalize nothing. Everything you do is weird now. You're free. Just be weird. It's fine. Just be free. As someone who's been weird my whole life, I highly recommend it. Don't sell yourself out to fit in with other people. I see people selling themselves out to fit in. Something that young people do a lot. I don't know. I don't want to like disclose too much about my personal life, but like, there's a guy who's like, you know, I liked him because he's got certain values and certain ideals and kind of a sweet guy. But now he's trying to be something he's not in order to fit in. And I don't like it. You ever meet a man and it's so obvious that no one has ever in his life ever told him to shut the fuck up? No, don't get me wrong. People have told me. I never listened. I wish blocking people blew them up. Oh my gosh, I would have been blown up 100 times. I promise you, as a child, it was like being taken to see the face of God. This, of course, was the fact that you used to literally have to go to Blockbuster in person to rent a movie was shocking. It was a good thing. Now here's how it is now. I know how it is now for you guys. You got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Disney Plus, you got Paramount, you got HBO Max. 3 more that I'm not thinking of. Netflix. You sit down, and for half an hour, you're just scrolling through. What am I in the mood for? I don't know. An old movie. This documentary I've never seen. I don't know. This one got recommended to me. I tried this one, but I gave up. Should I just watch something I've seen before? If you're anything like me, you'll spend 30 minutes just not picking out anything. I will say this past weekend, I watched the Netflix documentary on the Tylenol murders. It's a 3-parter, so it's nice and short. Nice and tight. Very good. Tylenol murders on Netflix. I do recommend that if you want a recommendation, which I know you probably do not because you're just going to watch what you ever want to watch. We used to go to Blockbuster and you had an idea of what you were going there for. You went there for a reason. You said, I've got to go get, you've got mail. I'm going to go see if they have that copy in stock. Of course, you would get there and all the walls around on the outside would all be the new releases. And it would look like the store was fully in stock because they would put an empty box there and then they would have the copy behind it. But then you would get there and the shelves would look fully stocked, but then none of the movies would be there because they would all be rented out. Like, yeah, we're out. We're sold. Right now we're out of every single copy of the movies that just came out this past Tuesday. It was tough. So then you would go in the middle and you would kind of get a classic movie that maybe you hadn't seen in a while. And now it's like, now you want to do that on Netflix. You're like, well, I want to watch U-571 with Matthew McConaughey and Harvey Keitel. That's the movie I want to watch. It's a submarine movie from like 2000. That's what I want to watch. You think you could find that on any of these streaming platforms? You cannot. You cannot find that movie. But if you went to a Blockbuster, you'd be able to find it. It would be there. And that was kind of the upside of Blockbuster. Gen Z kids just will never know. It's too bad. Government adding up how much I owe them for the services I never asked for and do not want. If anything, the USAID scandal blew open was that there was quite a few things that most of us agreed we didn't want to be paying for. But it cost this much somehow. 248 plus 208 equals 4,416. Oh. Yep. Carry the one. I told a customer good morning, and he said to me, time means nothing to me. He's the only person I've ever respected. I like it when someone offers a casual greeting, small talk, and you hit them back with something real. How are you doing this morning? Terrible. Thanks for asking. Nobody ever answers those seriously because it makes people uncomfortable, which is not really an alpha male thing to do. I ain't talking. A cop sharpening a knife. We got ways of making people talk. Cuts a piece of cake. Oh, can I have some? Cake is for talkers. Okay, I'll squeal. Just give me some of that cake. I volunteer my kid's school, and a kindergartner told me my mom used to have 2 butts, but now she just has 1. I didn't know how to be like, tell me more about your mom's butt without getting kicked off of campus. It haunts me to this day that I don't have more details. What did she mean by that? My mom used to have 2 butts, and we'll never, ever know. The 1984 rewrite is a cash grab. Good point. Not enough people are reading that book, and his estate probably doesn't care about whatever the book means. And so, yeah, they'll just cash it in. Good point. I've been listening to He Who Fights Monsters. It's a different take on fantasy, and the main guy is from Shorty's home down under. He's from Australia? Is that what that means? King admits he's had violent thoughts about his kids, sadly. There's a book by him that he let go out of print. And it was a book that he wrote. It was probably one of the second stories he ever wrote. It was a short story. I've read it. He let it go out of print because it was a book that he said he wrote, and he said it was actually in such poor taste he couldn't bear to make money from it. In the story, it's about some kids at college campus, and I think it's move in or move out day from the dorm. So he's in his dormitory and he sees kids, young adults all over campus, packing up or unpacking, moving in and out of the dorm. So if for anyone who's ever been on a campus that day, there's hundreds of people moving in and moving out all at once. Lots of people everywhere. And so this kid is looking at his dorm window and he sees all these people all over campus. I guess he's got a pretty good view from his campus dorm room. But he takes out a rifle and starts picking them off. And he wrote this story like back in the 70s, back before violence on a school campus was common. So he sort of incepted the idea of a campus shooting. He kind of came up with that idea. And I guess to his credit, he said that it was so distasteful he couldn't bear to make money from it, so he let it go out of print. But he's okay with making money from it. So I guess a story that has a bunch of kids all having sex with each other is not too grody for him. It's one thing to admit you have violent thoughts about your kids, and it's another thing to act on it, I guess. I've been listening to okay, you told me that already. Stupid progressive can't smoke on a construction site. Maybe that's because there's oxygen in use or something. I don't know. Thank them for their service. Damn it. the garbage man. Thank you for your service. I guess Will Cray makes a good point. He's somebody who Will Cray does a dirty job too. I thank garbage men for their services. I realize that without garbage men, the world would be a terrible place. We'd all be neck deep in our own filth. And they take on the job that a lot of people don't want to do of hauling it away. But I think that giving them the pomp and circumstance of a police department is a little bit ridiculous. I kind of think the pomp and circumstance of a police department is a little bit ridiculous. I think you need a nice uniform to wear to a funeral if a cop gets killed in the line of duty. I don't think a lot of garbage men get killed in the line of duty. That's all. Maybe they do. They could write a new book using the basic concept of 1984. Let's say it was inspired by it. Well, then that estate would sue them rather than making the money. It's just easier to just commission it. It's faster this way. Maybe it was satire. Maybe the whole endeavor is satire, except they are getting paid. The garbage man gets a fancy title in lieu of a raise. Maybe that's a good point. Maybe that's all they get is the uniforms. Maybe they're not getting 4-star pay. Gen Z seems to use their diagnoses as a badge where boomers hid their weirdness at all costs. Yeah, I was taught to be a little ashamed. I'm not a boomer or Gen Z. I'm kind of like the last Gen Xer, I guess. But I think shame was a good thing, generally. I think being proud of everything that's wrong with you is not necessarily the right way to go. There is a certain amount of acceptance you should do and understand that you're not a perfect person. But flaunting it and making the things that are wrong with you into a personality trait, I don't think are a good thing. Anytime you're really talking about yourself and making it about yourself and then projecting that out to other people, no matter what it is, I think is bad. Let's say a guy does a podcast by himself and he sends a link out to all his friends saying, come watch me. Like, that's an insane person. I think talking about our issues is good, less isolating, understanding and acceptance happen. Yeah, but it's all about what's your attitude? Is it about being clinical? Is it about seeking empathy and understanding and giving it to other people? Or is it about one-upsmanship? Christy, I think you would understand that sometimes people will try to outdo each other in terms of to try to get attention. I think you have people in your life that try very hard to use what's wrong with them to get attention. They don't care if it's negative attention. They just want attention. I started the Tylenol Murders and I got sidetracked into K-pop Demon Hunters. I could understand why you would get sidetracked into that. I lived through the Tylenol murders as a young person, and it felt like the wild, wild west. Yes, in 82 and in 86. That was a crazy time. It's a good documentary. I think that is why I still have about 750 burned DVDs. You should hold on to those. At some point, you'll have to have a Blu-ray player that connects to the internet to play a Blu-ray, and then it will edit out the portions of your movie, which society finds objectionable. And when you watch 1984 on Blu-ray, it will all be from, it would all be the, I don't know, the Paul Feig all-female version. I do the same thing, John. Lately, I just pick up a Hitchcock movie and watch that because I know my attention span will not falter there. I love Hitchcock. I love it. Grace Kelly in Rear Window. Great movies. As the resident Zoomer, I went to Blockbuster to get movies as a kid. Yep. The one way of screwing the government out of paying for bad programs is to be poor because you pay less taxes. You don't. And you don't pay fewer taxes because of inflation, you're always paying more. And your savings is always being diminished. So there's actually no way to screw the government. They're screwing you. They're making you poor. So you're not screwing them. I'm sure every parent at some point wishes they had an ejector seat in their car. Yes. Yes. You can't have that, though. As cool as it would be. No smoking inside. It's the same reason you can't smoke anywhere. Non-smokers might get cancer. I've railed against that before. That premise owners, business owners should be able to decide that for themselves. You tell people that, and then they just get mad at you. Wikipedia is actually more reliable than most textbooks, thanks to the unparalleled might of global scale, fully weaponized autistic pedantry. This is some of that glorification of autism, which, I guess serves a purpose. But fuck ChatGPT. Wikipedia is my ride or die. If I'm going to be misinformed, I want to be misinformed by the people. This whole thing led to a whole thread about how Wikipedia is not an academic standard, but it contains links to sources. And so click on those sources, and it's a great aggregator of sources. I wish I had known or understood this in college. When I was in college, I was told, because Wikipedia was coming out right around that time, don't go to Wikipedia. If you cite Wikipedia, that's not an academic source. It's not legitimate. But me being a chump, I didn't realize I should go to Wikipedia and then just click on all the sources cited, and then those sources that Wikipedia cites, I can also cite. Wikipedia is not academic, but what I'm making is only academic in the sense that I have formatted it correctly, right? I'm an undergrad. Like what I'm submitting to my teacher is not going to be published for peer review. Why is what I'm making have to be academic? Anyway, if I had been smarter in college, I would have outwitted some of these professors rather than trying to play their game. 3% of men are narcissists. 99% of women claim they have dated a narcissist. So how does that ratio work? It's kind of like the drivers thing. Most men, most women are above average drivers, but by definition, it can't be true. I think it's possible that there's a broad spectrum of traits that men display, which can be called narcissistic without it being clinical narcissism. I think it's possible men can be assholes or jerks, conceited, self-absorbed, rude, controlling, manipulative, but not necessarily be narcissistic. Could just be that narcissistic or narcissist is just a word that we throw around rather willy-nilly anymore. Could be. Somebody being overly independent is a defense mechanism from being constantly let down. And I promise you, I felt it in my soul. That's me. One of my biggest problems that I'm being told is that I'm too independent. And it's like, well, every time I outsource a task to someone else, they don't do it as well as me. I cannot count on anyone around me to do anything as well as I would do it myself. And sometimes I have tried to rely on people. I have tried to delegate things. I have said, you take care of this, you can do this. And then, is it me? Are my standards too high? Or my standards too exacting? Maybe my standards are too high, but they're too exacting. Like I know what I want, and I can't have that other person do it because they're separate from me. So maybe I'm too exacting. When it comes to like performance of things, like professional performance, though, like I want them to do a good job as I would do. I just think that means having high standards, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Are there any allergies at the table? Bees! Don't bring me any bees. I'm already drunk. Please don't bring me any bees. Commercial for floors. Is this you? Footage of a man falling endlessly into oblivion. Idiot. You should have invested in floors. A floor will keep you from falling into oblivion forever. That guy looks up from the floor. Thanks, floors. I'm sorry, it was absurd. Oh, that one we've already seen. And that one. And that one. And that one. That must mean we're getting near the end, right? False. We have tons more memes. Me, when I'm feeling suspiciously relaxed. What responsibility have I forgotten? That's me all the time. Like right now, this is a supersized episode. It's looking pretty big. And I'm ahead of schedule this week. The episode's ahead of schedule. Everything's ahead of schedule. And I feel like I should be wrapping this up and getting to other things, but it's just like I just finished mowing. So after this, like I can keep editing, or I could nap so that I don't die later, since I have to be going another 12 hours today, 13, 14 hours today. I can't relax. How far down the rabbit hole are you willing to go? Here's George W. Bush meeting with Kayla, the mother of Harambe. Upsetting, right? Everything went wrong when Harambe was murdered, which we don't talk about the murder of Harambe nearly enough. We need to talk about Harambe's murder and why that happened, and the instance or the predicament under which that was forced, and who we should actually hold responsible, and what it means for society. That person got off way too easily, in my opinion, and there should be justice for Harambe, not just as a meme, but as actual tangible action. All right, guys, remove something from this plate. This looks delicious to me, by the way. This is what I will be typically eating on a Saturday night anymore because I have no kitchen, so I go out to eat all the time. Steak, shrimp, buttered roll, broccoli, cheesy broccoli at that, and a bit of a picadillo here. This is mashed potatoes, not mashed potatoes. I don't know why anyone would call them mashed potatoes. They're clearly mashed. They've been mashed. Kind of like how people call them hash browns, but they're clearly hashed. They've been hashed. That's how they've been cut. They haven't been mashed. They've been hashed with a knife. Hashed browns. Anyway, what would you take off of this plate? I'll address your other comments as we lead up to this one. Give you plenty of time to think. Being weird is the best. Hitchcock movie is the way to go. 4D chess there. Ejector seat thing. Yep, we talked about that. You guys are talking about crack. I don't trust others to do things for me because they will not do it correctly. Jenny, what does that mean? You know, because I feel the same way. So if you and I ever teamed up on a project, what would that mean? I guess we wouldn't trust each other. We just couldn't be we couldn't do, if we were in school together and we were put in a group project, both of us would just do it independently. I've never been stung before. Will you live a life? At this point, you haven't seen The Office and you haven't did that other thing that you said that you've never done. And now you haven't been stung by a bee. Tanner had to step out to care for his family. Not the bees. The bees. You guys remember that? For some reason, that was so indelible. Me saying that the bees were at war with mankind, and now is the time to strike back at the bees. John, you never answered my messages on Instagram. Okay. I guess I'm on a live show, but what are your messages? How much do they pay? I'll look into it today. Okay. I was going to get back to those when I wasn't on the air. John, you could go to the gym. I could do that if my foot wasn't broken. That was actually something I thought about doing. I could go lift weights. That would actually be my default answer. If I'm ahead of schedule on editing and I don't have anything to do around the house, technically I should go to the gym, which would mean I would need to leave in about half an hour. So maybe if I can wrap this up, we could get that done. Shrimp? Are you kidding me? Shrimp. You're going to take shrimp off of this plate? No, that's a protein. Shrimp stay. Roll is probably the thing that I would say would come off. Although, like, if I'm trying to just cut carbs, the mashed potatoes may need to go. If it depends on what's on the roll. That looks like a sweet roll. On the other hand, that roll, if I had to guess, that looks like a roll from Christy, I'm gonna say Sadie's, which I know is a place you probably don't remember, but like a cafeteria. Cafeterias aren't really a thing anymore, are they? Where you go to a restaurant and you get in line and you take a tray and you walk past a bunch of things and then you ask for them to hand it to you, and then at the end you pay for whatever it is you took. That's not a thing anymore, is it? When was the last time anyone here went to a cafeteria? Outside of school, I mean. Yeah, I know. The shrimp. Micah says the roll, get rid of the roll. Thank you, Micah. Perfect. This is perfect. Remove nothing. I know, but that's the whole point, is you have to make a bad decision. Which of your friends do you leave behind, Tyler? When it comes to responsibility, does anyone else avoid opening your mail? Oh my gosh. Tally, when I was in college, every single piece of mail I ever had was either a bill or some kind of bad news. Hey, your student loans were not approved. Hey, electricity again this month. I would never open my mail. Oh, I used to get in such trouble not opening my mail. At one point, this is actually a joke on Seinfeld, but I wanted my privileges to mail to be revoked. I didn't want anyone to be able to contact me by mail because it was just bad news following me wherever I went. And so there's an episode of Seinfeld, which everyone hates, but there's an episode where Jerry tries to get his rights to his mail revoked, and Newman says, you can't do that. I would unravel the whole system, and the postmaster gets involved, and it's funny. Beat it, shrimp. This is such a Midwesterner thing to say. Remove the cheese from this picture. Oh, that's not bad. He gets to keep most everything else. That you take the cheese off, I guess, the mashed potatoes and the broccoli. Tanner's like a fourth dimensional thinker there. That's very smart. Getting used to early morning stuff because you're a daytime guy now, aren't you, Micah? Sad. I saw a meme recently, Micah. That's about 911 dispatchers, but I think this applies to you and me as well. What happens when a nighttime dispatcher goes to day shift? And I don't know what movie it's from, but there's a GIF playing at the bottom. And one character says, I don't like you anymore. And the other character goes, why? You liked me yesterday. And he goes, I just don't like you anymore. I don't like day shift people. That's okay. I don't like anyone night shift either. Jonathan, I think we would work well on projects as long as we tell each other exactly what is expected. That's what happened this past a week when Drew and I were recording for Comp Center. We both made assets for the same episode. It's just like, well, great. You have your asset and I have mine. So one of us should have saved the other one a whole lot of time by both of us not making the same thing. I got stung by a whole hive because I falked around and found out. I hate group projects. I hated them too. They were so communistic, especially in college. By then, it's just like, what the fuck is a group project in college? My professor's like, well, this is how it is in the workplace. And it's just like, no, this is how student athletes maintain their grades, is you put them in a group project with me. I do all the work and they go out and have 100 rushing yards this weekend and they get an A in this class. That's how it works. Nap, folks, he says. I could do that. Jonathan, you don't even like leg day, so the foot PX, I assume you mean is pain, is nothing. You could do upper body or go swimming to get some cardio. I could go swimming. Ever since COVID, no more buffets. We have buffets here. I want to like shrimp so bad because it's lean protein. I just cannot. It's my least favorite thing on the plate. Sorry. Remove the broccoli. Yeah, it could be a strategic thing for later. By the way, I've been rewatching Wendy Adelson's testimony. What a class on lying and gaslighting Wendy achieves on the stand. We will be talking about Wendy in a couple weeks. This coming tomorrow night, Tuesday night, is the episode on Catherine Magbonwa. Thursday, if I could get it done, is going to be on the two hitmen, Sigfredo Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. So that's what's on deck. And then the week after that, on Tuesday after that, we'll be doing the push. And then we'll start talking about Wendy and we'll start talking about Donna. So pay attention. Comm Center now twice a week. 2 times the Comm Center, twice a week, baby. 10,000 episodes. Comm Center forever, twice a week. Tuesdays at 8, 7 Central. Thursdays at 8, 7 Central. Twice the Comm Center. 4 times a good time. Twice the Comm Center. Thursday, Tuesday. Every Monday while I'm broke. Enjoy me while I'm broke. Money is going to change me, and I won't remember any of you. Our last video, I think, probably has 10,000 views by now. We're starting to get good views all the time, not just on Karen Reed shit. So I'm a big deal. Adding a scary hour to your morning routine could be the secret to more productivity and more focus. This headline I just saw is making me lose it. Searching Dracula on Google Images and scrolling the results for an hour every morning, nodding solemnly at every pic like they're a motivational quote before clocking into work. This is why I hired a guy to break into my house and attack me randomly at least 3 times a month. I've talked about this before, that my dream job is as a family threat coordinator. Kids not listening to you, wife doesn't respect you. It's just like anything else. Remember the movie Independence Day? All the countries of the earth come together, united by a single outside threat. You want your family to come together, to coalesce into a single functioning body, all the cells coming together in one body to do all the work together. They need an outside force to fight. All of your white blood cells and your red blood cells and your T cells and your antibodies, they all need to come together to fight a foreign invader. That's me. That's where I come in. I can be your family threat coordinator. I can come to your house in the middle of the night. I can run a rake over your windows. I can leave threatening phone calls. I can follow your kids around. I won't hurt them. But the point is, I'm being paid money to be marginally threatening to them, and they will see this outside force. And they will say, Dad, I'm so scared. And then they run to you like they used to when they were wee little bitty children. Dad, there's someone outside. And you'll be like, I will protect you. And then, like, even if you want, for a small bonus fee, we could even, you could beam me up a little bit in your yard. I have vanquished the threats to this family. And then they see you as this true alpha male, non-golf playing, threat vanquishing, dad, husband, everything you want to be. It's kind of like back in the day, back in the 50s, I think, nerds used to go to the beach with really beautiful women. Somehow this happened. And to solidify their babes' interest in them, handsome hunky men would come along and act like bullies. I'm going to steal your girlfriend. And then the little nerd, would punch them, and they'd go down in one punch like a glass jaw. And then he'd slip the bully, $20. And then the girlfriend would be like, oh, you're so handsome, Stevie. You sure did show him. It's just like that. It's a legitimate business. Ate a sleeve of saltine crackers, then smoked a cigarette. No water. I'm training. I'm not sure what for yet, but I'm training. Imagine how delicious this would be if you were a robot. It reminds me of that Flight of the Conchords song. Robots. The humans are dead. May I get a Coke, please? We only serve Pepsi here. How about a lemonade then? Sir, we only serve Pepsi here. Cut to a guy at the next table eating a plate of Pepsi. What if the Pepsi didn't have water tension and you poured Pepsi into a plate and it just... Just help my neighbor bury a rolled up carpet in the woods. Her boyfriend would have done it, but he's out of town. Well, gosh, guy always knows how to skirt responsibility. My organs watching me take my medication on empty stomach with a cold brew. This was me this weekend, literally on Saturday. I'm alternating. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I just do things. I'm alternating overdosing on ibuprofen and then alternating on overdosing on naproxen. I'm taking a lot of it. First of all, you should know I'm a real big boy. I'm 6'6". I'm about 260 right now, so I'm a little overweight. Real big boy. It's always taken a lot of meds to take me down. I don't feel anything. Drinking all this caffeine feels nothing to me. My seizure meds, I have to take over a gram of seizure meds every day just to keep from not dying. I take a lot of pills. I'm just eating these things every 2 to 3 hours. I'm eating about 5 pills. Blue ones, brown ones, blue ones, brown ones, all day long. It gets to be about 5 p.m. and I'm going to go get some dinner. And like I said, I can't eat at home because the kitchen's out of commission. So I'm going to drive and I'm going to go to Outback Steakhouse to get that plate that we saw earlier. I'm going to drive for an hour to get there. Well, this is just my life because I don't have a kitchen and I don't have a restaurant. And unless I just want to eat the food that's stored by my DVDs right now, like I have chips with my DVDs. If I don't want to eat that, I'm going to a restaurant. I accidentally took Tylenol PM. So like as I'm driving, I'm getting super sleepy. And I'm in the restaurant and she's like asking me, she goes, well, what do you want for your side? I'm like, I already said I already, what? She goes, well, what do you want for your side? I'm like, vegetables. And then by the end, I'm like, I could barely stay awake. I'm driving away from Outback Steakhouse and I'm like nodding off. I'm like, I've got to stop for an energy drink. And I still don't know how I made it home. But I accidentally took Tylenol PM at like 5 p.m. Don't do that. Read the labels of what you're overdosing on, everyone. What a great nap. I feel totally disoriented and frothing with hate. I, too, can wake up from a nap feeling worse than when I went in. A nap's a gamble. You'll either come out of it feeling great, feeling better, or you'll nap too long and you're committed, and then it's just like not getting a good enough night's sleep. Kindness is still alive. It's still out there, people. Still out there. Just beat up a homeless woman so she can go to the hospital and have a bed to sleep in. Hashtag God's plan. Thank you, Philip Lewis, out there doing the Lord's work. I'd like to see more alpha males out there beating up homeless women so that they would have some shelter for the night. Here's some green eggs and ham. It is worse than you think. The book was correct. Lex Luthor's like, hey, Superman, you got to try this delicious breakfast, bro. Kryptonite infused breakfast. Anybody see the new Superman movie? Is it any good? When your first heartbreak is from your parents, it's hard to believe you're meant to be treated well. I have a hell of a time with my counselor trying to explain to her why my parents were right about me. She doesn't get it. I guess she's a mom and she loves her own kids too. So she's got personal bias that keeps her from seeing this, but I'm doing everything I can to get her to understand why my parents were right about me and why they were right to, I deserve no better. So we're working on her. In all seriousness, no, she did have a stroke, so I currently don't have a counselor because I know what you're thinking. She had a stroke while she was in session with me trying to talk to me. She has literally said in multiple sessions that I joke about everything. And I think that's why we're struggling. She was not in session with me. She had a stroke. So right now there is no plan for my continued care, possibly just overdosing on pills. In the original run of The X-Files, it took 8 years, 8 months, and 9 days to air 9 seasons, including 202 episodes and a theatrical film, which is a great movie. Stranger Things will end this year after 9 years, 5 months, and 10 days with only 5 seasons and 42 episodes. That's just TV now. TV production schedule used to be a lot tougher. Frankly, The X-Files had a very thin budget. That's why the show was so dark, because they were doing a lot of things without showing it, which made it scarier, in my opinion. It also had a lot of filler episodes. If you want, I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet that shows which X-Files episodes are the ones you should skip and which ones you absolutely must watch. I have that available for anyone that wants it. I tried to watch Stranger Things season 2. The story for me concluded after season 1. I wasn't so much into it after that. And by now, for the Stranger Things kids, they've all got to be like in their mid-20s, and it's got to be like 1995, right? So, but X-Files, great show. A lot of cheap filler, whereas Stranger Things probably has high production value in every single episode. Warrior in the streets, insomniac in the sheets. That's me last night. Couldn't fall asleep. It was probably 4 a.m. before I fell asleep. I was up this morning at probably 6:30. This to me tells me I should go to sleep after this. If I have a seizure disorder and I only got 2.5 hours of sleep, why am I not napping right now? I should probably nap. I want to go work out, but I should probably the safe thing to do is nap. Anyway, Arby says humans didn't climb to the top of the food chain to eat salad. Wendy says, yeah, but they didn't climb to the top to eat Arby's either. And Arby's in that Ving Rhames voice, still using sass to cover for the food, I see. Here's the thing. The thing that makes this really funny is to know that Arby's and Wendy's were the same company until 2018. So Arby's and Wendy's are literally divorced. That's why they're giving each other shit. No matter how bad a day I'm having at work, at least I know there's no point during which I have to run 1 mile for a grade right after eating and then change back into my clothes and resume work. I was lucky. In high school, gym was last period of the day. I had a 7th period. So I was done for the day after gym. But all throughout grade school, I would have to go outside and do PE and run and then, do lunch or whatever, depending on what grade you're in is what time you had it. But I can't imagine a bunch of smelly, sweaty, stinky kids coming in from PE. And then it's just like, okay, now we're going to do phonics. Now we're going to do spelling. Now we're going to do math or science. What a horrible idea. All right, now we're going to fight. Save one breakfast food to save mankind. You can only... Oh, okay, thank God. You only have to sacrifice one. I thought you had to save one. Jeez. Sorry, I overreacted to that one. Bacon, pancakes, hashed browns, or eggs. One has to go. I'm going to review your comments, and then we're going to see where you're at. Or build the model. Magbanawa. Here's the thing. We addressed that in the episode. We will have her say her name multiple times. So the uncertainty about how her name is pronounced, which I just pronounced it correctly, by the way, will be dispelled. Group projects are fun because there's always a girl who likes doing all the writing. Yes, I will draw the pics. I was the one that always did everything. Bye, Will. Oh. Bye to whoever left. I don't know who left. Hope you're all just still here. There was 13 at some point, so at least 3 people left. I get my merch in 2 weeks. It ships from Texas. Yeah, all it takes is 10 weeks, everyone. I'm sorry for Teespring not delivering the way that they should have. I'm still waiting on mine. Still waiting on my merch. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Please address it with Teespring. I can't do anything about it. I was at Mount Rushmore last Saturday. How is that for you, Will? Big, boring thing. Drive out there. Boring. They have pretty good ice cream at Mount Rushmore, I guess. I only say it comes from Texas because then you can gauge how quickly the shopping might be. It takes forever to get stuff from me from the East Coast, but almost overnight from the West Coast. Those are yurts. People are camping on the mountains. Oh, the boobs. Okay, yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. Does anyone remember Dimitri Martin? I missed that comedy. I don't think I watched Dimitri Martin. Gotta go. Love you all. Bye, Tanner. He's already long gone. Hello, 1984 brought a little movie called Revenge of the Nerds that explains the nerd beauty queen phenomenon. I haven't seen it. I know you're mad at me for that, but 1984 also brought you me, and I was busy doing things that year, like learning to be alive. Jonathan, you need to go get the 800 IBUs. Some dosage feels so much stronger. What? Oh, about my overdosing. Yes, but I don't normally take pills like that. I don't normally do it. And the thing is she's mad at me. This is the thing that doesn't make sense about family. Your family will get mad at you for dying. They won't be sad or miss you. They'll just get damned mad at you. The new Superman movie is great. It's definitely worth the watch. I'll have to check it out. I have a dessert recommendation for you all. Buy Senior rice pudding and some Biscoff biscuits, and then you have a comforting treat. What are Biscoff biscuits? Are they like Nilla wafers? Is the show still called Smoke Break, though, Lauren? I guess. It's been so long for Stranger Things. Is there any point? I know. It's been gone so long. Do you even want to see it again? I have that X-Files spreadsheet. It's life-changing. I think I've made one since then, actually, Christy. Surprise, surprise, never watched Stranger Things. My therapist in her late 30s and I have to give history lessons to explain my female angst. Or X-Files. Jenny, come on. What have you been up to? She's just trying to piss me off. Fox is right. She's decoded Jenny's behavior. She's just trying to get under my skin. Arby's got jealous of all the men eating Wendy's. Tyler, not appropriate. Screw gym class. Gym class was just being bullied by a teacher. You guys want to hear a fun story about that? Here's my fun story. I'll let you look at the meme still. I think it was in fourth grade or fifth grade. I'm not sure, but we had a gym teacher that nobody liked. I don't remember her name, but she was really tough on all of us. She was just like a gym teacher, and I don't think she did anything wrong, but she was really, really tough on all of us. It used to be that we had gym teachers that were tough on me because I was fat and slow. Like they would always be tough on me, but they would be really nice to the athletic kids, the soccer kids. But we got a new teacher in fourth grade, PE teacher, and the PE teachers always came and went. We never had a PE teacher for long, but she was really tough on us. And so one day, this other kid that I really didn't like very much, I really didn't like him, came to me and said, we're starting a petition to get rid of this teacher. And I'm an idiot. It's 1994. I am 10 years old. I am stupid. So I signed this petition thinking, well, this is just how you make change happen. You sign a petition, you show the administration that you don't like your teacher. Smart. Well, that petition was given to our principal, and when you know it, she came to our class and she dressed us all down for that behavior. And that's when I think that's when I first woke up to the real world. That life's not fair. That you don't have any say, that you don't have rights, that petitioning your principal to fire someone is a horrible thing to do. It indicates that the teacher was probably a really good teacher and that we sucked as students. But she didn't come back the following year. You know, maybe it just didn't work out for other reasons. Maybe I suspect she wasn't happy if the students were fulfilling a petition to get rid of her. But what a horrible thing to do as a child. And I admit I signed on to that. So sorry, Mrs. Whatever your name was. Anyway, what are we getting rid of? Sacrifice one breakfast food to save mankind. Jenny says goodbye to the eggs. Once again, she gets rid of the cheapest, best protein, like shrimp. She's now getting rid of eggs. Terrible decision. Tyler says bye to pancakes. They're a little heavy. I would probably also get rid of the pancakes. Christy says goodbye to pancakes. Guys, remember, we can keep waffles. They're not on this list. Pancakes got to go. How can you say bacon? Bacon's staying. No, I override you. Waffles are superior. Mike is correct. Foxy says hash browns got to go. Is this because you think you can eat some other kind of potatoes? You can't. Correct answer is pancakes. Jenny says Falker and fine. I'm not sure if it's to piss him off or to disappoint. Bitterly disappointed and pissed off today. Buy hash browns. I'm sorry, but it's for humanity. Get rid of pancakes. I don't like that comment about the waffles. It's a toss-up between pancakes and hash, but I'm leaning towards the pancakes. Good man, Tyler. That was how Georgia pronounced Charlie's girlfriend's name. Sorry about that. We'll all get to it. Don't worry. Mount Rushmore was cool. I loved the huckleberry ice cream they had. You're out in Montana right now. Everything's huckleberry in Montana. You can get huckleberry anything in Montana. Just go to the store. Waffles are way better. Agreed. Not mad. Scared for you retroactively. You know, Christy, why would it matter if I died? I don't know. Would it even affect you? You haven't seen me since the year of our Lord 2009, and before that, you hadn't seen me since like 2003. I've seen you one time in 22 years. And when I was there, you weren't a big fan of me. Anyway, Biscoff biscuits are those cookies they give you for free on an airplane. So have that with some, was it rice pudding you said? That sounds like the most taste-free dessert you could possibly have. Waffles are the supreme breakfast food. Mrs. Allen? Mrs. Allen does sound like the name of a teacher I hate. You would have been in first grade, right? Because you were 4 years behind me. So if I'm in 4, no, you would have been in kindergarten still, right? I'm guessing it's not Mrs. Allen, just because I can't say for sure. We had a fat gym teacher. I would always ask her if she was capable of doing what she is asking us to do. I'm sure she cried at night. That's mean. They used to do weird things to us, like see how far we could scrunch ourselves and stretch our hamstrings and stuff. And it's just like, well, we don't train to do this all year long. Like the thing where you have to sit on your butt and you put your feet forward and then you have to lean and see how like far your fingertips go. Well, we didn't stretch our hamstrings at any point. At no point are we doing hamstring stretching exercise, but at the end of the year, we get evaluated for fitness based off this exercise that we haven't trained to do all year long. At the end of the year, we're doing like pull-ups. Well, I haven't trained to do pull-ups. Why at the end of the year is my grade for the class being determined by how many pull-ups I can do when at no point have I been told to do pull-ups or help doing pull-ups? By the way, if you cannot do a single pull-up, if you can't do one, how do you train to the point where you can? Because you can't develop that muscle if you can't do it. The answer is you have to have someone help you. You have to have someone grab you by the ankles or by the feet and take the weight that you can't lift yet until you can complete the motion. Right? And you only bear enough weight so that they can actually complete it and actually put that muscle to use. So no one's lifting up my feet. No one's lifting up my ankles. No one's helping me perfect my form, learn anything about pull-ups. But at the end of the year, my form and my performance and my grade for the class is based off of how many pull-ups I can do. It's a bunch of horse shit. And I only just thought about how mad I am about it now. But I should obviously re-enroll in elementary school and take PE again because I think I could do better this time around. This episode's almost 2 hours long. We had a 1970s stereotype lesbian for a junior high school class teacher. I'm sure she hated all of us. Potatoes are life. Bacon just isn't for breakfast. It's true. I guess you could have bacon at lunch. Pancakes are the best, damn it. Pancakes are the everyday cake, and I love cake. If you thought pancakes were so good, you would have called them by their name, cool name, flapjacks. That's true. What's the difference between a pancake and a flapjack? But the concept of a brother is better than no brother. Maybe. I don't know. It matters to me. I matter to you. Funerals are hard. I've already left instructions that I have no funeral, so don't worry about that. My ashes just get scattered at Chick-fil-A. Funerals are hard. Missing the person that died, that's hard. Yeah, but see, the thing is, she already hasn't seen me in 22 years. So I feel like now's the best time for me to die. Clean break. Biscoff cookies were deemed so good, they sell them in stores. So you pretend to be an airplane anytime. I love this. You could just buy the cookies. Can't afford a vacation? Buy some Biscoff cookies and pretend you're on a flight. You know, just sit there and wait for everyone else to get off the plane and be unhassled and take off your shoes as you go through security. What a treat. The presidential fitness test. I let Bill Clinton down a lot, believe me. Tell you they made them into a Biscoff butter. Okay, you guys are just talking about that because JFK thought it was a good idea. It was a good idea to have a whole bunch of kids that are ready to go fight the Russians is a good idea. I mean, this is back when wars were existential and we only went to war when it was to save America. Now we just go because we want to feed the machine. But out of the 20 plus years, or out of the 20 plus that have died in my life, I miss my friend the most. Been 13 years and still hard. My sister and I aren't that close though, so don't go overboard. I can do at least one pull up and chin up. A couple years ago I could. I bet I've let my upper body strength go so much. I bet I probably can't now. I am ashamed to say. No, when I saw you in 2008, it was at a funeral. Yeah, I remember that. So, all right, I already covered that one and that one. We're almost there, everyone. Show's almost over. Did the breakfast thing. I told a customer good morning. Yep, we already did that one. Oh, we're so close to the end. Oh, we're so close. Isn't it weird that we have one hand that knows how to do everything, and then one hand that just sits there and it's like, I don't know how to hold a pencil. Can't do it. It really makes no sense. We should all be ambidextrous. That said, left-handed people are trash, and I will not be a friend to you if you are left-handed. A 10 out of 10 burger beats a 10 out of 10 hot dog, but a 5 out of 10 hot dog beats a 5 out of 10 hamburger. This is not true. Hot dogs are better than burgers. No, burgers are better than hot dogs. There's a curve. There's a certain point where a hot dog can be better than a bad burger, but I mean, a 5 out of 10 hamburger beats a 5 out of 10 hot dog anytime. A hot dog has a simplified flavor profile. There's fewer ways that you can mess up a hot dog. A hamburger can be messed up. It's more complicated. But I've been eating a lot of hot dogs lately, believe me, so I would know. Why is serial killing the only male hobby that women respect? Ironically, they do not respect podcasting as a hobby. Not one of my female friends cares that I'm a podcaster, wants to know about podcasting. How do you make a podcast? What is this? What does this do? Has anyone here, have any of the women ever asked to see any of my cool buttons before? Look at the levels go up when I talk. Isn't that neat? Hello? Nobody cares. It's a whole thing. Because I'm not a serial killer. You don't respect it. All right, that was the last meme. Sorry to go out on such a low note. All right. So that's the end of the show. Thank you guys for watching. Just as a reminder, Comm Center tomorrow at 8/7 Central. I would like to see the commies there. I understand that Tuesday is not your jam. Thursdays are your jam. So if you don't show up tomorrow, that's fine. It's okay. We're trying to build out the show to a broader audience. We're bringing in the Donna Adelson people. Right now, they're trashing the 911 dispatcher who handled that call pretty hard. I don't think he did such a bad job. I don't think what went wrong was his fault. We'll be covering that in depth on Tuesday. It's amazing to me, the comments trashing the dispatcher. It's amazing to me how so many people who have never done a job, any job, whatever job it is, they all act like experts on the internet. I probably wouldn't be a good bus driver. And that's not to put down bus driving. Just a lot of people think that they could criticize a bus driver. I'm like, well, you probably have no idea what it's like to be a bus driver. Why do people assume that a 911 dispatcher is bad, or that they should be replaced, or they should be fired? Someone even said most people know that 911 dispatchers are useless people. They're brain dead. I'm like, well, they actually said that like 90% of 911 dispatchers were useless or brainless people. Well, that's amazing, because 911 rings 100,000 times a day in this country, and 8,200 911 call centers. And so if 90% of us taking the calls are useless, then I guess a lot of morgues are going to be just stuffed to the brim with people that 90% of dispatchers were too stupid to help. It's so hard being a podcaster and being exposed to people's negativity. It's driving Drew insane. If you guys need to go back, if you have time, go back and watch our earliest episodes, episode 1, 2, 3, 5. Drew is thinner, happier, younger. He's got dark hair. He now lately he appears to be sundowning, disoriented, confused, hungry. This is what just 3 years of being hip deep in YouTube negativity has done to him. It's destroyed him. It's destroyed him. And I'm still, happy, young, good looking. So hasn't done anything to me. Anyway, the concept of a brother is good. Yes, everything. Yep, already did all this. Okay, no more funeral. It's official. I love you more than you love me. That's such a Bates thing to say. I love you more than you love me. I even have a song that goes like that. I won't sing it on the air, but the lyrics to the song are, I love you more than you love me. Oh, how happy we will be when you admit it. What if we don't want it to end? A grilled hot dog is so good, though. Yes, I prefer them grilled. Maybe assume we don't know what the cool buttons do. Maybe you do know. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about podcasting. I will not be there. Softball practice, Special Olympics. Yeah, you're busy at night. You're one of those people that has a life. Never approve of that. I'll be there, always there. Appreciate you, Tyler. You always show support. I'm sorry about you're having a bad day. You're not a loser. You're a hero to me. Just by waking up every day, you're being heroic. One foot in front of the other, not giving up. Another chance every day to be a hero, to be courageous. Being a hero, being courageous isn't about not having fear. It's not about not ever having failures. It's about overcoming them. It's about keeping going. That's what makes you a real man. Some people just need to know their lanes. I guess they do. Will Cray, I know metal, but nothing of sewers. I respect 911 operators, but I admit when hearing these infamous calls, it brings out my Monday morning quarterback in me. Well, you're allowed to. We're all allowed to do whatever we want to do. That's the thing about being a Monday morning quarterback is that, and this is not directed at you, Talio, so please take this. Don't take this personally. This isn't directed at you. But to all the Monday morning quarterbacks, I can't help but notice that you weren't there on Sunday. You weren't playing the game. As Teddy Roosevelt said, it is only the man in the arena whose opinion counts, and all the spectators and all the people who have something to say, their opinion doesn't matter. But the 911 dispatcher who's in the heat of the moment, who's in the emergency, who has to use their ability and their training to solve a problem, their opinion matters. And spectators, well, they're just spectators. That's the end of the show. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to nap. I should honestly probably nap. I can't imagine I got more than 2.5, 3 hours of sleep, but whatever. I'll just overdose on my seizure meds. All right, guys. We'll see you back here on Tuesday on Comm Center. We'll see you back here. And then as far as an after show, for those of you wondering, the after show will probably return when I am done finishing my floors, because on Thursdays right now, power sanders are running and stuff. So we can't do it. I could never do your job, Talio, either. Believe me, I don't particularly like cleaning up after people. It takes a special person to do that. All right, guys, I'm out.